Sunday best, and they said, we're going to have rules for impeachment, and it's going to take care of everything, and we're going to actually take care of the president. The president will have a chance to actually be a part of the process and look at witnesses and question, and this is where we're at now. The Judiciary Committee was the only place to do that. Well, starting tomorrow, they fail miserably in trying to provide any modicum of fairness in this process. The president's not sending a counsel tomorrow, and he shouldn't send a counsel tomorrow because there's nothing for them to ask. Why would they want to sit back through a constitutional law class, which most of them had to suffer through in law school? Tomorrow provides nothing except a dreary-eyed, drowsy proposal for this country to watch as the impeachment process slowly drags on with no direction, no focus, because they're having one big problem. And the big problem is the president did nothing wrong, and they can't prove it. With that, I yield to the whip.
Thank you, Doug. Welcome back. I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. I wish we had come back here to confront a lot of the problems that families are facing across the country. I wish that we were this week taking up the bipartisan package of bills that passed out of Energy and Commerce to lower drug prices. That had unanimous support, in fact, that would lower prescription drug prices, bring more generics to the market quicker, to lower health costs for families. But we're not doing that. I wish that we were working here in Congress to support what President Trump is doing right now in Europe to strengthen NATO, working with our allies to make NATO even stronger. But we're not doing that. What is disappointing, the fact that right now as we speak, Adam Schiff, meeting behind closed doors once again, holding votes in secret, is an affront to transparency. It's going on right now. You look at how this whole impeachment sham has been going. While President Trump is in London meeting with our allies to strengthen NATO and to help and encourage other NATO allies to do more of their fair share, which they're doing because President Trump has encouraged them to actually step up and do more. That is being juxtaposed by this continued sham where they don't have any facts. They've yet to bring an impeachable offense. The things that haven't changed, by the way, are the fact that the only two participants in the phone call of question were Donald Trump and President Zelensky. Both said the call was fine. President Zelensky said there was never any pressure. And not only was there no quid pro quo, but Ukraine got the money. And ultimately, there was no push that they made for investigation into anything. And they've said that. The foreign minister said that. But they still drive on. You're hearing a lot of Democrats now trying to get out of this mess. During the break, you had a number of Democrats trying to break from Pelosi, saying that they should stop pursuing impeachment because they're hearing from people like we are that are saying, why isn't Congress, instead of focusing on this impeachment obsession that Pelosi has and her members had to reverse the 2016 election, why aren't they instead using this time and this majority to confront the problems that this country is facing? They could have bills on the floor to lower drug prices that would be signed into law already. But Pelosi won't bring that to the floor because of impeachment. USMCA could be the law of the land. We could have a better trade deal already with our neighbors from the north and south, Mexico and Canada, and create over 160,000 new jobs. But Pelosi won't bring that to the floor because of impeachment. Our troops could have the tools they need to train and fight safely, and we don't have that yet because Pelosi is obsessed with impeachment. There's a cost to what they're doing. There's a cost to our country. There's a cost to hardworking families that because Congress won't confront those problems, because Pelosi's obsessed with impeachment, it really does cost hardworking families across this country. Enough's enough. Let's get back to work, confront the problems that have bipartisan support that Congress is not doing because of Pelosi's obsession with impeachment. With that, I'll call up our Republican leader, Kevin McCarthy.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you for coming. I know this is a different time. We thought this time might work since Adam Schiff once again has a closed meeting and won't allow you into it or the American public to see what they want to vote on. So we thought you'd have something better to do with your time. We could talk about something. Even though Congress looks like they're divided, there is something that the Speaker has said just this year that I think unites the entire nation. What she said, I think almost everybody agrees with, exactly right here. Impeachment is so divisive to the country that unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I do not think we should go down the path because it divides the country. March 11, 2019. I imagine most everybody in America believes that impeachment is so divisive. But if we were to do it, it'd have to be compelling, overwhelming, and bipartisan. 3 criteria the Speaker laid out to this country to move what is going to happen this week. Those 3 issues she laid have failed each one. There is nothing compelling, there's nothing overwhelming, and the only bipartisan vote we have had in this House is not to move forward with impeachment inquiry. But that has not stopped them. In a venue that we can't go to that is created solely for the Intel Committee. Why? Because of the work that it's supposed to be doing. This work that's so sensitive to keep this country safe has not been doing any of that, because that Intel Committee has now been changed to the Impeachment Committee. Adam Schiff, just standing here today, I watched you ask him a question about whether we should move forward with impeachment. It's interesting because Adam has a hard time with the truth. Because Adam said just a few days ago, in his words, he is going to send the president back to the golden throne he came from. Adam had made his mind up long before. He just didn't have the proof, so he had to write his own story. If you read his report, he only picks what he wants, and he still does not have anything overwhelming, compelling, or bipartisan. But that does not stop him from continuing to make items up. If we watch where it's going to go tomorrow, you heard from Doug Collins. Doug Collins is the ranking member in that committee. The committee chairman is a congressman named Nadler. Nadler had to campaign for this position. It was a competitive race. So Nadler wanted to lay out to all of America, and especially to his colleagues, of why they should vote for him to become chairman. He said he would be the strongest member to lead a potential impeachment. This was the creation of their majority. That was their goal. And he himself admitted last year, if you're serious about removing a president from office, what you're really doing is overturning the results of the last election. Many of the Democrats have been very honest about this. From Al Green, who put the impeachment long before they were even in the majority, before any Mueller report came forward. 2/3 of the Judiciary Committee on the Democratic side had voted for those. They're concerned that if they do not impeach this president, they can't beat him in an election. This is exactly what Alexander Hamilton warned us about. And unfortunately, we now have a majority solely devised on one goal. But that one goal harms the entire nation. The Speaker said it. It's very divisive. But what it's harming is what's not getting done. What are the opportunities that we are missing? You heard it so many times before. United States, Mexico, and Canada agreement. More than 1 year ago, the 3 leaders have signed that to move forward. Mexico had passed it, and Canada continues to wait. Every economist will tell you it will make America stronger. Our challenge is I watched the market go down today simply on the idea that the agreement with China may not come together as quickly. China is not our #1 trader. It's our 3rd largest trader. You know who's #1 and #2? Mexico and Canada. Would America be stronger in a negotiation with China if we had the USMCA with our #1 and #2 trader? Everyone will tell you yes. Everyone in the House will tell you if you put it on the floor, it will pass. But that power all rests with one person, the Speaker of the House. She is also the same person who 70 days ago started us down this nightmare for a second time. They didn't have proof then. They have no items, and now we have the phone call before us. America sees it, and now we're watching the own polls in America continue to drop. That they agree with what the Speaker said in March, that it's too divisive. So the final question for the Speaker is, when will we get the Mexico and Canada trade agreement? When is the funding bill to fund our troops for the Department of Defense? And more importantly, how have we been able to help to make our country stronger, more prosperous since taking the gavel? My real question that I think the American public would ask this new majority, name me one problem you have solved. Because they have issued more subpoenas than they've created laws. We're better than this. And I hope the Speaker meant the words she said on March 11th. If she set a criteria to have to march forward, she needs to answer the question, what is compelling, what is overwhelming, and where is the bipartisanship? Because that would put an end to this nightmare where we can work forward to make America stronger. So open up for questions. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I know you always, criticize what the Democrats have found, what their process has been, and then what the report has found today. But isn't there risk for Republicans and the president, regardless of what you think of what they put forward, when this is put to the American people, that there is risk for Republicans to stand so foursquare behind the president and also to just ignore this and say this is,
first of all,
this is made up and it's inappropriate and it's factually incorrect?
I thank you for your question. I think it's more fearful that we don't stand for the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear. It's based upon facts. If everybody in the country can see the phone call, and you have all the witnesses before in a process that is unfair, could not tell you one thing that's impeachable. John Radcliffe asked the question of their top witnesses, name me one thing that is impeachable. So I think for those bipartisan, the Republicans and the Democrats who stood together, who actually stood for the Constitution and said, no, we shouldn't move forward, I'm not fearful of that. I think history will be very kind to those who take that stand. For those that Alexander Hamilton warned us about, I don't think history will be that kind. I think Adam Schiff will have to answer for a great deal. One, when he told the American public that he had proof beyond circumstantial. Two, when he said he wished he knew who the whistleblower was and how hard he was going to fight to bring that whistleblower forward. But lo and behold, he won't let that person come. And then when Adam Schiff said that he needed to be the kin star of today's world, well, everybody else would come and testify. But you asked him the question today, he said no staff is going to testify. Remember what we're talking about. Exactly what the Speaker said. It is so divisive to the country, but they treat it just like it's a political game. If I was fearful, I'd be fearful on their side, because I think the country will see through it. Yes?
One thing that was in the report that came out today is it would appear that in April there was some communication between Devin Nunes and Rudy Giuliani and some of Mr. Giuliani's associates. I'm curious, one, if you've spoken to Mr. Nunes about the contents of that interaction, and two, if that raises any concern from your standpoint.
It doesn't raise me any concerns. When I talked to Devin, when I first heard a CNN report that said Devin went to Vienna, and it was reported on the news, continued to repeat it. Have you talked to Devin? Was he in Vienna? The answer is no. And I think Devin's following forward like he should do.
So you're continuing that there was not interaction, that these phone records, these logs are wrong?
That's a totally different thing. You said about the phone logs that Devin's talking to an individual. I don't have a problem with Devin talking to individuals. What was claimed about Devin on CNN, on a national news media, is that he went to Vienna to meet with individuals. He was not in Vienna. That was a lie. Just like many lies before, and it seems like a perpetual thing of what we do. This was brought forth by Adam Schiff, who said he didn't know who the whistleblower was, who said he had proof beyond circumstantial evidence, who said today at this podium that he didn't know where he would be on impeachment when he told the entire nation that he's going to throw him back to that golden throne? No, I have no concerns. Yes.
Senator, to you and Mr. Collins, you talked about the White House not participating tomorrow. I understand your perspective on that. But would you like to see them participate if there are fact witnesses? Are they leaving something on the table if they don't come in and give their side or their version of things through their counsel or somebody else?
Well, if you watched in the past history, that we've always had a fair process. And you usually had a fair process that an individual could call witnesses and should cross-examine. Who are they going to cross-examine tomorrow? Is tomorrow anything about impeachment?
Past tomorrow in the future hearings.
Is it going to be an open process in the future? I'll let the ranker.
Yeah. Look, the letter from the White House counsel said that if they're leaving their options open to participate in anything else, then they will. And I think that's the important part. There's got to be something out here to be held accountable. You and the media have the ability to hold this accountable and say, why are they not calling fact witnesses? Why are we not having this? For Adam Schiff to stand at this podium and say that he's not going to testify and he's going to send staff. I have a question for Adam Schiff. What are you hiding? Why are you scared? You're going to send I call it, what we call it in the Judiciary Committee and the Intel Committee, is bring your donor to work day. Because he's going to have the big donor who gave to the Democratic Party, Mr. Goldman, present for him. Why stand behind Mr. Goldman? You have the gavel, you have the report, come testify. The White House will be happy to be a part of fact witnesses, really things that actually move us forward. Tomorrow is simply just a filler because Jerry Nadler didn't know what else to do.
Last question?
Mr. Waiter?
Yes.
Mr. Waiter, following up on Congressman Nunes, two questions. One, given that we have these records and they're showing him having these conversations at some key moments, and accepting your contention that there was nothing wrong here, should Congressman Nunes explain what these conversations and interactions were? My second question is, do you have concerns that this stuff ended up in this report from Chairman Schiff? Is it appropriate for him to put a fellow congressman's call records out there like this?
When it comes to Adam Schiff, I have a lot of concerns. He can't remember whether he met with the whistleblower, who it was. The whistleblower has a hard time remembering when it goes to why when they brought forth the IG, why are those transcripts not made to the public yet? Adam Schiff has a long history with a problem of telling the truth. Adam Schiff also has a long history to do anything above and beyond, and even lie, if it takes to impeach the president. We're just finding another place where Adam Schiff is doing it one more time. Devin Nunes has a right to talk to anybody. What they accused of Devin Nunes of doing, of going to a country that he was not at, and as a job of being on the Intel Committee is something that Devin has to travel, and Adam Schiff would know exactly where Devin was traveling at that time. But to perpetuate a lie is nothing new to Adam Schiff. To perpetuate a lie because this man only wants to impeach the president is something we come to expect from him.
But should he discuss what happened on those phone calls?
It's a question for Devin, but Devin has the right to talk to people. There's nothing wrong that Devin has done, except once again to try to get accused of something. It is a simple smokescreen. I wish you'd ask the same questions. What did Adam Schiff say to the whistleblower? Why did the whistleblower come to Adam Schiff before he ever had an attorney? Why did Adam Schiff go to the American public and start this nightmare over the idea that the administration was going to withhold the whistleblower from coming before the committee, and he was going to fight so hard to make that happen? The only person that's withholding the whistleblower from coming forward is Adam Schiff. This is a man that didn't even take the same rules that has been allotted to anybody else in the same position. He rewrote the rules so only he can pick who comes before the committee. He rewrote the rules for how the committee to work, that he would get the first 45 minutes. He has tried to design everything he can to get an outcome that he desires, but the only problem that he lacks is the truth. And it's just one more example of it.